Middle Tennessee's only primetime news. This is Fox 17 News at 9, your Code Red station.
We do have police presence pretty much daily. It's just more of an increase this weekend.
In Operation Crime and Justice, Black Friday is the biggest shopping day of the year. But with the recent uptick in retail crime, Metro Police partnered up with Tanger Outlets and other malls in the Nashville area to deter this type of activity. Fox 17 News' Caitlin Miller joins us from Tanger Outlets with more on this initiative.
A lot of shoppers expected out here for Black Friday here at Tanger Outlets and throughout the entire weekend. And that's why you see a police car right behind me. They've partnered up with Metro Police to have more officers out here along with their security guards to make sure that shoppers and employees feel safe throughout the weekend. Tons of people are shopping around Tanger Outlets in Antioch.
It's been fun. A lot of people. Me and my wife came out this morning. It's the first time at the mall.
Good deals. It was nice. Just good vibe just walking around.
Because of these large crowds, Metro Police is working closely with Tanger Outlets, Opry Mills Mall, Green Hills Mall, among others, to have an enhanced visible presence.
We're going to have our CET units out there on bikes doing some community patrols, and we have numerous secondary employment officers that are going to be in the area to assist patrons as they're trying to shop.
Metro Police Lieutenant Michael Warren says they also have undercover detectives at Tanger throughout the weekend. He says all in an effort to make everyone feel safe so they can do their holiday shopping without being in fear of becoming a victim.
We just want to create that community, family-friendly feel, and so, of course, that safety is going to be that number one priority, whether it's, creating a safe environment at an event or just creating a safe mall in general.
The people we spoke with shopping around Tanger Outlets on Black Friday are happy about this presence.
Oh, I feel 100% safe, yeah. 100% everywhere we've been. There's security, they're watching your back pretty good.
Metro Police say anyone caught stealing from stores or breaking into vehicles will be arrested and prosecuted. This initiative with extra law enforcement will take place through Sunday. Reporting from Antioch, I'm Caitlin Miller, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station. Continuing coverage, Tennessee lawmakers are at odds over the state's ban on gender-affirming care for children. The heated debate comes ahead of the Supreme Court ruling on its constitutionality. Fox 17 News' Karen Aguilar shares perspectives from both sides of the aisle.
It's a sensitive topic coming from a law from the Tennessee legislature. The impact of the Supreme Court's decision on transgender care for children, worrying parents on both sides.
Transgender children are banned in Tennessee from receiving gender-affirming care by law. This includes puberty blockers, hormones, and surgeries. Advocates wanting to give them access to these treatments will be taking their fight to the Supreme Court on Wednesday. State Representative Afton Bain tells me her constituents are plaintiffs in the lawsuit. She believes the ban is unconstitutional.
It directly ignores the rights of parents to make informed medical decisions about their child.
Representative Todd Warner tells me children are too young for that type of decision.
It's child abuse. To me, at the age of 10 or 11 years old, I'm not sure they really know what they want to do.
He is part of the Tennessee legislature Republican supermajority who pushed for the ban.
As we were passing this law, a transgender who is now as an adult, regretted making that decision.
Bain tells me only a select few detransition, and it shouldn't stop transgender children from getting access to affirming care. She believes the impacts of the ban are far worse.
It exacerbates harm for some of the most impacted teens in terms of mental health and suicidation.
In the case this ban is deemed unconstitutional, what do you think the impact will be for Tennessee children?
I think it's going to be terrible.
But with a conservative-dominated Supreme Court, Bain says the outcome of having the ban overturned is unlikely.
I mean, it's heartbreaking. And I think, what's been challenging in this legislature and with, a Republican trifecta and an unelected activist attorney general is that they're celebrating the erosion of individual freedoms and liberties.
There is no telling when the Supreme Court will make a decision, but it could set a precedent nationwide. Reporting in front of the Capitol, Karen Aguilar, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Making headlines, at least 5 Democratic Congress members in Connecticut received bomb threats on Thanksgiving. Representatives John Larson, Jim Himes, Johanna Hayes, Joe Courtney, and Senator Chris Murphy reported they had been targeted by threats to their homes. Officers on the scene found no evidence of explosives on the lawmakers' properties. These reported bomb threats come just one day after many of President-elect Donald Trump's cabinet picks reported similar threats. New tonight, donations are thankfully still rolling in to help the victims of Hurricane Helene, but experts warn to be very careful to avoid scams. Analysts from the Security Operations Center estimate about 70% of the scams they're tracking are related to Hurricane Helene. They say any area where a lot of money is coming in is going to be a target, and recovery efforts will continue to see funds for years to come. The center suggests only using trusted charities like the Red Cross or Salvation Army to avoid giving to a potential scam site. All right, Brett, well, I know the big talker the past few days has been cold, cold, cold.
That is it. And you know, that colder air is not going anywhere. In fact, I think tonight, finally, I think we're going to hit freezing. We wound up not hitting freezing last night. We dropped down to 33 degrees. We did not hit that 32 mark, but for tonight, I think it's a very safe bet that we're going to hit freezing. Last time I was checking, we were at 33 right here in Nashville. A lot of Middle Tennessee already has dropped below freezing. We'll take a look at some of those current temperatures here in just a second, but these are the latest first fall freezes right here in Nashville. So tonight, we will break that record. We've already broken the record, but now it's just going to be in the books starting for tonight. But November 27th, 2009, also again in 1902, that's tied second place. We had 29 degrees on back in 2009, 30 degrees in 1902. And then November 23rd, that is fourth place back in 1994. And then fifth place, that was back in 1935. So we did break the record. I think overnight low temperatures tonight here in Nashville should be around the mid-20s. Sunday morning, it's going to be a little bit warmer, but it's still only going to put us right at freezing. Still a cold night. And then Monday morning, more cold air arrives. 24 on Monday morning, 21 Tuesday morning, and then it finally to Thursday. 33 degrees right here in Nashville. Clear skies for us. We're going to keep it clear as we head through the rest of the night too, and that will allow those temperatures to keep on dropping down through the overnight hours tonight. So 33 right here. Some areas already in the mid-20s, 25 in McMinnville, 26 in Cookeville. I'll have more details coming up on all this and when we might get a little bit of a warm-up coming up here in your 7-day forecast.
New tonight, health experts are sharing the best time to get rid of your Thanksgiving leftovers. The leftovers are one of the best parts of Thanksgiving, of course, but doctors from Cleveland Clinic stress that you have to safely store them from the start, adding that the scraps should be put away within 2 hours of serving and eating. They also say airtight containers are crucial to prevent bacteria from seeping in. Refrigerated leftovers are only safe for about 3 to 4 days. So Monday is a safe bet for last cause on that turkey and gravy. They say if you want to hold on to them, put the leftovers in the freezer within those 4 days. Well, we want to know what you think. How much Thanksgiving leftovers do you have? Let's take a look at our results right now. Most of you, 57% of you, are saying 1 to 2 days worth. I think that's a good amount. Some of you are saying a week's worth. Now, this poll is live right now. To cast your vote, you can scan the QR code on your screen or go to our X page at Fox Nashville. Each night, head to our X page at Fox Nashville for a new poll you can take part in. Thanks for voting. Well, many shoppers head into this holiday shopping season with leftover debt from the year before. A new survey from Wallet Hub shows nearly half of Americans are still paying off debt from the 2023 holiday season, but it's not causing a slowdown in gift shopping this year. 31% of consumers say they're just planning to spend less than last year, while 51% say a new credit card will help them afford it all. A new Intuit Credit Karma survey says 1/3 of consumers have more than $5,000 in debt.
Coming up this week on Full Measure, we are off to Poland to meet up with U.S. forces conducting live fire training exercises near the Russian border. We'll examine the cost and the politics of U.S. contributions to NATO. We'll dig into the fascinating reason why the decongestants that millions of people use don't work like they used to. It's not your imagination. It's part of a scandal the FDA seems to be dragging its feet on. We'll hear from a key figure who blew the whistle. And many American cities add the chemical fluoride to the public water supply for healthy teeth. But a growing body of studies are casting doubt on fluoride safety. We investigate one community's push to remove fluoride from their drinking water, all this week on Full Measure.
She's never been charged with abuse, neglect, drugs, anything, yet somehow Nikisha Moore, a Nashville mom, has lost her child to DCS for 10 years. The heartbreaking story is next.
A Nashville mom fighting the Department of Children's Services to get her son back for 10 years. She finally won her case in the Tennessee Supreme Court, but 18 months later, she still doesn't have custody. In tonight's Fox 17 News investigation, this mother says DCS still won't even let her see her son. Dennis Ferrier has this mother's heartbreaking story.
Imagine fighting DCS for 10 years in court to get your child back, even though you've never been charged with child neglect, abandonment, or abuse. Nashville's Nikisha Moore isn't imagining this. She's living it, and it is as awful as it sounds.
Nikisha Moore's son Marcus had a rough start, in and out of the hospital from day one. Nikisha says doctors told her he would have serious health problems for a long time.
But it was just like, okay, this is going to be my reality. I'll be able, let me take him to the doctor.
While Marcus was in Vanderbilt Hospital, abuse was reported. DCS took him from Nikisha at 6 months. All she could do was hire a lawyer and fight.
They found all these fractured ribs. Well, it's very noticeable that none of these ribs are broken. They're fractured, and they're all at various stages of healing is what they call it. There's no bruises, there's no contusions, there's no other signs of abuse, but you have these fractured ribs.
You also have these images of Marcus's skull that shows soft spots, more proof that this is a medical condition called osteopenia. But DCS didn't buy it. The agency said either Nikisha or the dad hurt Marcus. 10 years later, his room remains empty. 10 years later, she still doesn't have visitation, even after the Tennessee Supreme Court ruled there's no proof Marcus was a victim of child abuse. Yes, the Supreme Court ruled she should not have had her parental rights terminated, but that just threw it all back to a lower court to fight more with DCS.
I had to withdraw my 401k and also borrow money from other people and still in debt.
Why does DCS continue to fight the reunion of a mom and her son? DCS has no comment. The agency does not comment on active cases. Meanwhile, there are just a handful of photos. Those dreadful early days of back and forth to the hospital. She had some visitation until Marcus turned 4. No photos, no mothering, no I love you, just silence and worry.
What do you want to say to Marcus?
That I love you, and I'm fighting for you, and I'm never going to give up. And as long as I have breath in my body, I'm going to keep fighting. And it's not fair. And I just want you to know that I do love you. I love you, and I never said that I wanted you out of my home, so I never want you to feel that way. And I'm still here fighting for you, and you have a sister who loves you, and I can't wait for y'all to meet each other.
Marcus has a sister he doesn't know, Marley, 6 years old. She's in science club and garden club and gymnastics and is taking piano lessons. DCS never even inquired about her. Wouldn't an awful, abusive mom hurt all her children?
Nobody even been to my home to even see my home, to see the interaction with my child or anything. I told them I had a child, and it was like nothing. I didn't even get a reaction out of it.
And isn't that proof?
Yes, that's proof that I'm a good mother, and it's a living witness. She's here.
We want you to think about one more thing. Nikisha Moore has never been charged with any crime. Never. No neglect, no abuse, no abandonment, no charges ever. Can you believe DCS can just take your child away without criminal charges, without a jury trial? All you can do is fight them in court. And even if you win, you might lose.
We have an agency called the Department of Children's Services, and that's not what it is at all. It is a quasi-law enforcement agency who is putting 90% of their resources into prosecuting parents.
Nikisha Moore will keep this room ready with a flicker of hope only a mom could understand.
DCS uses child confidentiality to refuse to comment on its cases, but it also gives them an excuse not to explain themselves, doesn't it? I'm Dennis Ferrier, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Well, Brett, we also have a big game tomorrow. We have Tennessee and Vanderbilt, so people, how should they dress? I'm going to be at the game.
Oh, you better dress warm then. It's going to be a cold one. The good news, though, not going to have to worry about any rain or icy snow, nothing like that. So, yeah, it should be all good on that front. But it is going to get much colder, or going to stay cold as we go through these next several days. This colder air is here, and it is here to stay, at least until we hit the later part of this upcoming week. Right now, there's a live look over Broadway, though. This cold air not slowing anybody down on Broadway for this Friday night. Current temperature right here in Nashville, we are now right at freezing. So 32 degrees right here in Nashville. We finally hit freezing, and now this officially makes it the latest first fall freeze that we have had in Nashville in the record books. Earlier this morning, we dropped down to 33 degrees. Didn't quite reach that, and then we hit about 46 for the high today. We're back down to the lower 30s, 32 right now in Nashville. 33 in Murfreesboro, a degree above freezing, 28 in Tullahoma, 28 in Crossville. It's 26 right now up there on the plateau in Cookeville, 26 degrees, the current temperature there. For the overnight hours tonight, I think these temperatures will continue to drop on down a little bit lower. We're not going to have much cloud cover at all, and that's going to allow these temperatures to keep on dropping. I think we're down to about the mid-20s right here in Nashville. As far as any sort of snow goes for us, I don't really think we're going to see any of that. Earlier in the forecast period, it looked like we might get a better chance for some flurries up here in parts of southern Kentucky and along parts of the plateau. That chance just keeps on dwindling, though maybe just a few flurries flying a little bit later on in the day on a Saturday. Saturday morning, we're going to start it out all dry, stay dry through Saturday afternoon. Saturday late in the day, so by Saturday evening, maybe just a couple of flurries that try to work their way down into the very far southwestern or southeastern portions of southern Kentucky, maybe up there along the plateau. No accumulation, though. That's not going to cause you any sort of trouble whatsoever. You might just see a few flurries flying in the sky. Monday, we're going to be all dry. We're going to stay dry as we head throughout the day on Tuesday as well. And then moving on into Wednesday, I think Wednesday shaping up to be a pretty dry day for us too. And then Thursday, maybe about a 20% chance for showers. Right now, it's looking like a 20% chance at best, though. And then Friday, it'll be a pretty similar setup too for us, about a 20% chance at best for a few isolated showers here across Middle Tennessee up into southern Kentucky. For tonight, here in Nashville, 25 degrees, the overnight low temperature. Areas outside of the city will be dropping down a little bit lower than that. Wouldn't be surprised if we get a few locations down to the upper teens a little bit later on tonight. We're going to stay mostly clear. Winds are going to stay calm tonight too, so that will allow those temperatures to keep on dropping. Saturday, Sunday shaping up overall not to be too bad, especially if you like the cold. We'll be in the lower 40s throughout most of the afternoon on Saturday, and then on Sunday we'll be in the mid 40s by noon, back down to the lower 40s by 5 o'clock. The good news, though, no bad winter weather that we're looking at for this weekend. It's just going to be a cold one. I'll have more details coming up for you here in just a bit.
It's a war of words between world leaders, but can it stave off an actual trade war? I'm Matt Gelka in Washington, and I'll have the story coming up.
Black Friday is all but over, but what about Cyber Monday? Shoppers are certainly looking forward to it. We're going to tell you how you can avoid falling victim to online schemes. That's coming up Monday morning on Fox 17 News this morning. We'll see you at 4.
Covering the economy, President-elect Donald Trump's promise of new tariffs on America's neighbors has world leaders and businesses scrambling. As Fox 17 News' Matt Galka reports, it's unknown if Trump will go through with the plan or just use it to bargain with other nations.
Incoming President Donald Trump's promise to levy new tariffs on China, Mexico, and Canada already has the world leaders talking to avoid a trade war. Trump threatened new 25% tariffs on goods from Mexico and Canada as a penalty until fentanyl drug flow and illegal immigration are curbed. President Joe Biden says taxing America's neighbors is a bad idea.
I hope he rethinks it. I think it's a counterproductive thing to do.
Trump and Mexico's president, Claudia Sheinbaum, have been going back and forth this week on tariffs, including a phone call on Wednesday. Trump called the phone call wonderful and claimed on Truth Social Sheinbaum has agreed to stop migration through Mexico and into the United States, effectively closing our southern border. While Mexico's president said the call was excellent, she also pushed back on a closed border, with a post on X reading, "We reaffirm that Mexico's stance is not to close borders, but to build bridges between governments and peoples." Experts say the tariff threat could just be a strategy to renegotiate trade deals.
Probably a bargaining tool, but you never know with Donald Trump, right? China and Mexico are both complicit in the entry of these drugs in the United States. And so Trump is simply saying, look, you have to do a better job keeping these drugs out of our country.
There's also a fear that tariffs on imports will raise prices for American companies and consumers, including the auto industry relying on both of America's neighbors for parts and labor.
I hope it is not an intent to either hurt the domestic auto industry or the consumer. So I hope he'll take time to understand the impact. I'll work with him on trade. Let's do it right.
Mexico's president told Trump there was a campaign underway in her country to reduce fentanyl consumption, as well as efforts to stop migrant caravans from reaching the border. She also told reporters this week there would be no tariff war with the United States. Reporting in Washington, I'm Matt Gelka.
Well, cucumbers shipped to multiple states, including here in Tennessee, are being recalled. Sunfed Produce says it's recalling the cucumbers because of a potential salmonella contamination. The vegetables were sold between October 12th and November 26th. The FDA confirms there have been no reported illnesses connected to the cucumbers. This after a separate salmonella outbreak in cucumbers left roughly 450 Americans sick earlier this year.
Australia, now a trailblazer when it comes to protecting kids online. I'm Kayla Gaskins in Washington. Coming up, we'll look at their new law and how it stacks up to similar legislation in the United States.
In science and technology, Australia is leading the charge when it comes to child safety online. The country's parliament banned anyone under 16 from having social media accounts. Fox 17 News' Kayla Gaskins shares how the ban will work and what it could mean for kids here in the U.S. And you can vote on this issue by scanning the QR code that will appear on your screen during the story.
Resolved in the affirmative.
Australia's new law places the responsibility on social media companies to ensure no one under the age of 16 has an account. Kids and parents won't face punishment for violations. Tech companies, though, could be slapped with big fines.
For too long, they have shirked these responsibilities in favour of profit.
Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram, and X all included in Australia's ban. Ex-owner Elon Musk tweeting last week, seems like a backdoor way to control access to the internet by all Australians. Meta releasing a statement saying they are concerned the government is rushing this legislation without adequate consultation or evidence.
I think a lot of people out there thought it was a good idea until we looked at the detail, and let's be honest, there's no detail.
In the U.S., Utah passing a similar ban to Australia's, a federal judge blocking it.
8, 9, 10-year-old children are all over the internet. They're seeing porn. They're seeing horrible things.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis signing a bill banning anyone under the age of 14 from having a social media account. Legal challenges followed there as well. Federal judges blocking laws in both Ohio and Arkansas, requiring kids under 16 to receive parental consent before creating social media accounts.
If we let young humans go through puberty, which is a massive rewiring of the brain, if you let that process happen, guided by feedback on TikTok and Instagram, you're going to get bad results.
And at the federal level, the Kids Online Safety Act passed the Senate this summer and now awaits a vote in the House. The bill does not ban kids from having social media accounts, but rather places a burden on social media companies to protect kids from online harms, such as bullying, promotion of suicide, eating disorders, and illegal drugs. Meanwhile, big tech leaders cozying up to the next administration. This week, both Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg and ex-owner Elon Musk spending time at Mar-a-Lago with Donald Trump. In Washington, I'm Kayla Gaskins.
Now, during that story, we had a QR code with a poll that asked you, do you agree with the Australian Parliament's ban on social media for children under 16? And the results show, yes, 78.2% of you said you agree with their ban on social media for children under 16. 21% of you said no. Thank you all for voting in our poll. Well, in politics, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has big plans if the Senate confirms him to lead the Department of Health and Human Services. On top of his list, a push to focus more on chronic illness research than infectious disease research. This as the bird flu is on the rise across the nation. It's even something that's raising concerns about a new pandemic. Many public health experts and former government leaders are pushing back on some of RFK's plans.
Robert F. Kennedy pretty consistently has espoused ideas that have been widely debunked. Somehow HIV doesn't cause AIDS, or that polio was not caused by the polio virus. I mean, ideas that have clearly, it's not even like, oh, they're controversial, they're just wrong.
President-elect Trump's former Surgeon General Jerome Adams is also concerned, saying Trump needs to have a strong infectious disease plan with a focus on keeping vaccine rates high, or Trump will be distracted by outbreaks throughout his second term.
Today was a cold one. We hit 46 degrees right here at Nashville, and I think we're going to be about the same for tomorrow, too. Right now, going with 46 again for the high temperature here in Nashville. We're going to do it again, I think. Average high temperature this time of year is 56 degrees. That's going to put us with a high 10 degrees below normal for this time of year. It is going to be a cold one for us for tomorrow. I think clouds will be on the increase, too, as we go throughout the day tomorrow. So Saturday, mid-40s. We're going to stay in the mid-40s Sunday. And then Monday into Tuesday, I think that's going to be some of the coldest there. 38, our high temperature on Monday, 40 on Tuesday. And then we finally go back up into the 50s, but just barely on Wednesday. And then Thursday, 54. Friday, we're back down into the mid-40s. So that colder air is not going anywhere. In fact, it's only going to get colder as we head on into early next week. The good news, though, no winter weather that we'll have to worry about with any of that very cold air in place. I think we're all dry until about Tuesday. Tuesday, we bring in about a 20% chance for a few isolated showers. Really not going to be a whole lot, it doesn't look like, as of right now. Climate Prediction Center giving us about a near normal temperature, near normal chance for either below or above a normal rainfall amount, so right there in the middle. And then for that same time period, this is December 7th to the 13th, a much better chance for below normal temperatures here across southern Kentucky and middle Tennessee.
Russia's invasion isn't just hurting Ukraine, it's also dealt a blow to the Russian people. I'm Atrel Nashar with a look at the grim economic reality inside of Russia.
Going home, how a baseball player returned to the diamond after an injury sidelined him forever. Continuing coverage as this month marked 1,000 days of the war between Russia and Ukraine. As we learn more about what's happening on the ground, we're also tracking how the war is impacting civilians inside of Russia. Fox 17 News' Altra El Nashar explains the economic toll this war is taking on those in Russia.
When Russian President Vladimir Putin waged war on Ukraine, he also sparked an economic battle for his own people. In February 2022, the U.S. and its allies quickly hit Russia with sweeping economic sanctions.
We've cut off Russia's government from Western financing.
And have kept them coming ever since. To compensate, Moscow has turned to China and India. Spikes in oil prices over the past 2 years have also kept Russia's economy afloat, even expanding, a source of frustration for Washington. Here's what Dileep Singh, a leader of the U.S. sanctions strategy, recently told 60 Minutes about their impact on Russia's economy.
Let's be honest, this is not the nosedive that I predicted 2 years ago. On the surface, Russia's economy may appear to be a fortress, but underneath, the foundations are fragile.
Fractured supply chains and massive military spending have ushered in high inflation. Right now, Russian prices are rising at a rate of 8.5% a year. For fruits and vegetables, it's 13.5%.
Firstly, inflation. Overall, we can see no signs of its slowdown.
To try to get prices under control, last month, Russia's central bank rose its interest rate to 21% and plans to go even higher next year. Devastating to prospective homebuyers. One realtor from Russia who did not want to be named for security reasons told the Russian language outlet Current Time, the market is dead. Making all of this worse is the decline of the ruble, Russia's currency. This means Russians have less buying power, so high prices hurt even more. Right now, 1 ruble is roughly equivalent to 1 penny. Another economic headwind, a serious labor shortage as working-age men are conscripted to the battlefield. Many of them won't return. It's true, for many Russians, times are especially tight. But the real price of this war is paid in lives inside Ukraine. In Washington, I'm Atrel Nashar reporting.
Coming in for the save, the baseball legend that saved a player sidelined forever on the diamond.
And it's 11:23 right now, and we finally have a temperature right at freezing here in Nashville. But as we go through the next several hours, it's only going to drop lower. I'll have more on that, and when we could see a little bit of a warm-up here after the break.
In 1989, a young baseball star slid headfirst into home plate. Unfortunately, the incident permanently paralyzed the gentleman. Since then, it's been his mission to make baseball safer for everyone. But as Spotlight on America's Dwayne Pullman found out, the injury almost led this young player to end his own life until a major league star made the save and gave him the will to go on.
At a small baseball field in northeastern Kentucky,
it's not what I would call my field of dreams.
David Irie is returning to the diamond, where his life forever changed.
Have you been out on the field at all?
No, this is really the first time I've been back out on this field.
In 1989, David was a high school senior and a baseball star.
I was looking forward to moving on with my career in baseball.
But his hopes of making it to the big leagues ended here at home plate with a slide and collision with the catcher.
Head first right here. Don't think I ever made it to the plate. I tried. I remember getting everything going numb.
Morris Shearer, who was an assistant coach for the other team back then, saw it happen.
Did you know how bad it was immediately?
Yeah. He wasn't moving at all.
David fractured his spinal cord near the base of his neck.
C4, C5.
Paralyzed and helpless in the hospital, David held on, telling himself he would recover.
You're going to be down for a little bit. It might take a few months, but you're going to hop right back up and go right at it again.
A doctor delivered a dose of reality.
The doctor looked at me and said, "What's your expectations?" I started to walk again. He said, you need to be realistic. He said, "That's never going to happen."
Did that hit you hard?
Yeah, and that's when you started getting depressed.
So depressed, David began thinking about ending it all.
You thought about it?
Oh yeah, there's no cure for a spinal cord injury.
The game David loved was no longer in reach. Darkness began to consume him until a star appeared at his bedside.
I looked up and Al Oliver came in.
Al Oliver, the legendary slugger, had just retired from the major leagues and was now a minister making rounds at the hospital. To this day, he can't say for sure why he went into David's room.
So you didn't know he was there?
I did not know he was there. It was just God leading me to his room.
This photo was taken just after Al met David that very day. Al even signed a ball cap for David with the simple saying, "Stay positive." David says Al's visit saved his life.
I kept holding on to, Al Oliver came to see me. Al Oliver said, "Never give up." So that kind of helped me push on.
Al continued to visit David and sign photos and lots of baseball cards to encourage him. The push of positivity led to something extraordinary. A purpose, which would bring David back to the game he loved. David started his own nonprofit, the David Irie Foundation, dedicated to funding spinal cord injury research and teaching young boys and girls safer ways to play the game.
We do this so you guys won't make the same mistake.
According to the National Safety Council, in 2022, baseball and softball players in America were sent to the ER more than 136,000 times. Truveta, which researches electronic health data, discovered baseball had the highest rate of face and head injuries, more than 15% higher than any other sport. While spinal cord injuries are rare, David focuses his lessons on avoiding the slide that broke his neck.
Are you saying never ever slide head first?
Yes, and especially home plate.
Big names in baseball have long supported David and his foundation, including Jose Rijo.
I would do anything for Dave, anything.
The Cincinnati Reds organization embraces David too.
He's an extraordinary person, and that goes well beyond his physical limitations.
On May 25th, David Irie rolled onto the field at Great American Ballpark, honored by the Reds as captain for the day.
Good to see you.
All right. Good to see you too.
And David was by Al's side when he was honored too.
Let's hear it. Al Oliver.
At 77, Al had to use his own wheelchair to get to the mound. But when he got there, he stood up and threw the first pitch. Major league moments for a long retired superstar and the once broken player he helped save. Back at the small baseball diamond where it all began, a moment severed by a catastrophic injury decades ago.
I was still trying to reach for the home plate, but couldn't.
Was still waiting to be completed.
Why don't we touch the plate today with your chair?
On this day, that score was finally settled.
You know what, David?
Yes.
You just made it home.
Yep, it took 35 years, but we made it.
For Spotlight on America, I'm Dwayne Pullman.
Well, looking ahead as we continue a big Thanksgiving weekend of sports on Fox 17, we have a can't-miss college football triple header for you tomorrow. First, it's Michigan versus Ohio State. Kickoff starts at 11 a.m. Then we've got a highly anticipated rivalry game as Arizona State takes on Arizona, starting at 3 p.m. And your primetime game on Fox 17, Kansas State will battle it out against Iowa State on Saturday at 6:30 p.m. And the holiday weekend wraps up on Sunday with an NFL matchup as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers take on the Carolina Panthers. Kickoff starts at 3 p.m. right here on Fox 17. All right, well, we've reached freezing temperatures, but
Finally.
hey, no rain or snow, right?
No rain or snow, that's good. Yeah, we're not going to have to deal with any bad driving conditions or anything like that. We are going to dip down below freezing, though, tonight. Last time I was looking, we'll get an update right here in just a second, but we were right at freezing here in Nashville, and I think we're going to drop down to the mid-20s. So it is going to be a very cold night for us as we go through the overnight hours tonight. Still at 32 right here in Nashville. This is a live look over Broadway. Current time here in current time right now 11:33, and there's still a lot of folks out there on a Broadway. So this cold air still really not slowing anybody out down there on Broadway tonight, and it's most of us in the upper 20s to the lower 30s. A couple of mid-20s though. 25 Cookeville, same for McMinnville. 29 in Dickson. It's 30 degrees up in Clarksville, Murfreesboro. Now right at freezing. 32 down there in Murfreesboro. As we go through the overnight hours tonight, we'll get clear skies and calm winds. That's going to allow these temperatures to keep on dropping, and I think we could drop down to about 25 here in Nashville by early tomorrow morning. As far as any rain or snow goes, like we were just talking, we are not seeing any of that popping up here on the radar, and in fact, I think we're going to keep it dry really for the next several days. This is later on tonight into early tomorrow morning. Future tracks still showing dry conditions in place here across Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky. We're going to stay dry too nearly all of Saturday. The only exception may be just a couple of flurries. This is Saturday evening that try to work their way down into the upper parts of the Cumberland Plateau. That is it. That's not going to cause you any sort of issues, though. You might just see a few flurries flying in the sky, and then that's about all that we're going to get out of any of that. So no impacts at all for tomorrow with any sort of snowfall or anything. Sunday morning, we're off to a dry start. We'll stay dry through the rest of Sunday, and then as we head on into Monday, it's just going to be more of the same. We're going to carry those dry conditions over into Monday. Tuesday, it's going to be another dry day for us, and then as we move on into Wednesday, I think Wednesday is looking pretty dry too. Thursday, we might bring in about a 20% chance for just a few isolated showers. Most areas, though, will stay dry on Thursday, and we're going to see a pretty similar day set up for Friday too, but Friday is going to be a little bit colder. 25 degrees, the overnight low temperature tonight here in Nashville. Mostly clear skies. Winds are going to stay calm. The next 2 days still looking pretty good as far as any sort of active weather goes. It's just going to be cold, and that's going to be the big story for us through the weekend, especially into early this upcoming week too. I think that's going to be some of the coldest there that we've seen so far. Right now for Monday for Nashville, going with a high of 38. Some areas will stay lower than that. Lower 20s for us Monday night heading into Tuesday morning. 40 the high on Tuesday, and then 27 the overnight low in the Wednesday morning. Wednesday we're finally back to 50. I think Thursday looks like the warmest day, but that's still going to be just about a degree or two below normal. 54 the high temperature on Thursday.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
These images captured an eerie, dense, and foggy morning in Alexandria, Alabama Wednesday. Far away and on the opposite side of the day, these cows huddled during a foggy sunset yesterday near Portland, Oregon. And this squirrel might be thanking whoever left out this meaty pumpkin for its use. And something else to be grateful for today, the lovely natural wonder of a vibrant rainbow.
You can see more stories like this every weekday morning on the National Weather Desk. It starts at 8 a.m. on our sister station, MyTV 30. Well, best of the best, a look at the history-making winner of the National Dog Show. Well, earlier in the newscast, we told you about our X poll asking, how much Thanksgiving leftovers do you have left? Let's take a look at our results. 56% of you said 1 to 2 days worth. Some of you said a week's worth. That sounds about right. I think I have 1 to 2 days worth as well. Well, each night, look for a new poll on our X page that you can take part in. Thank you all for voting. Well, take a look at this. America has a new top dog, and he's already making history. Vito the Pug was crowned Best in Show at the 92nd Annual National Dog Show Thursday. Look how cute he is. This also marks the first time the breed claimed the top prize since the show was first televised in 2002. The 2.5-year-old pup bested nearly 2,000 other dogs to take home the title. A Welsh Terrier named Verde came in second. However, Vito is no stranger to winning. His owner says he's racked up 25 Best in Shows over his career. Big spending, why Thanksgiving may have given Black Friday a run for its money this year. Retailers had a lot of reasons to be thankful this Thanksgiving. According to Adobe Analytics, holiday shoppers forked out a record-setting $6.1 billion on Thanksgiving Day. That's a nearly 9% increase compared to Turkey Day 2023. Among the popular items being purchased, toys and electronics. Mobile shopping played a major factor, with 60% of Thursday's online sales being done by phone. Did you shop yesterday?
Not a thing. Did you shop?
No, I'm Amazon's #1 customer, but I don't think I actually bought anything yesterday.
Well, there you go. You're saving that money. Yep. I like that.
Saving some money for future days.
Absolutely. Totally agree with you. Well, hey, everybody. The big story for us, it's just this cold that is locked in place. 46 degrees. Our high temperature tomorrow. Tonight's going to be a very cold one. Just get ready for it. 46 on Sunday again. 38 on Monday.
Thanks for watching Fox 17 News at 9. I'm Amanda Chin. Have a great night.